Hi, I'm Alvin, this is Nicholas Pelham, and our embedded systems project is a 3-vessel brewing system. This is our simulated brewing system. The green LEDs and the red LEDs simulate the solenoid valves, the yellow LEDs simulate the heaters in the hot liquor tank and the boil kettle, and the white LEDs represent whether or not each of these tanks are full. For this project, we're using 4 AT-Mega controllers, one for the hot liquor tank, one for the mash tun, one for the boil kettle, and one for the master controller, all of which are communicating through SPI. For this demo, we don't have synchronization set up, but we do have buttons that trigger transitions between each state of the brewing process, which would otherwise be triggered through SPI communication. We'll be using potentiometers to simulate thermal resistors, and switches to simulate float sensors. We'll also be using these LED arrays to display the desired temperature set between systems throughout the brewing process.
Okay, so here you can see our simulated setup with all 3 vessels, the hot liquor tank, the mash tun, and the boil kettle. The green and red lines represent the pipes from one location to another, and this green and red circle would be the single pump that we are using for the system. Here you can see this squiggly line is our heat exchange coil, which is used to both heat up the mash tun and to cool down the boil at the end of the process. So let's see the system in action. First, the hot liquor tank is given a desired temperature so that it will start to fill. When it fills to full, the heater will turn on to heat the water appropriately. When the water reaches the appropriate temperature, the hot liquor tank is done and the desired temperature drops to 0 because this is now finished. Okay, to move water from the hot liquor tank to the mash tun, these valves will be opened, which will begin draining water from the hot liquor tank and filling the mash tun. When the mash tun is not empty, the mixing arm will begin to rotate, maintain a constant mixing action in the mash tun. When the mash tun is full, these valves will close and a desired temperature will be sent to the mash tun to begin the mashing process. At the same time, a desired temperature is sent to the hot liquor tank to signal it to fill and begin a heating process to heat the mash tun. Heating the mash tun is done by recirculating water through these valves to go through this heat exchange coil where the hot liquor tank's hot water will heat up the colder water in the mash tun. When the mash is finished, it will begin to transfer liquid from the mash tun to the boil kettle by first entering a process called leading, in which the mash tun is emptied and pumped into itself to remove any particulates that have gathered in the bottom of the mash tun through the mashing process. After which, this valve will change and we will begin pumping water directly from the mash tun to the boil kettle. When the boil kettle is full and the mash tun is empty, a desired temperature will be sent to the boil kettle to begin the heating process. As this is occurring, the hot liquor tank will be emptied into the mash tun by opening these valves, and a desired temperature of 0 will be sent to the hot liquor tank so that it will fill with cold water to be used in the cooling process of the boil kettle. A different desired temperature will be sent to the boil kettle when we're at the end of the boil time. Cooling the water from the end of the boil is done by opening these valves and pumping water from the boil kettle through the heat exchange coil that is now submerged in cold water in the hot liquor tank and then refilling the boil kettle. This will lower the temperature to a point where the boil is now considered finished, and the desired temperature is set to 0 to signal that we are now at the end of the brewing process. Now that the water has been processed through all 3 vessels in the system, the water is now considered to be what is called wort and is then added to a fermenter for the longer fermentation process. The fermentation process does not take place within these 3 vessels and was considered out of scope for the current project. And so you know that we know what we're talking about. We made a beer. It's currently fermenting and it'll be done in another 2 weeks or so. So I've been Nicholas Pelham. This is Alvin. Thanks for watching.